Welcome back, everyone, to another special episode with Fwipp on the Feed the Beast Cryptocraft server. What I'm currently standing on is a device to defeat one of the last remaining things from our scientific progress, and that is, my friends, the element of time itself. That's right, as you've been following along, we've managed to defeat basically the need for resources. Hannibal's quarry set up, indeed, combined with my infinite fuel generator, which is still smoking along very nicely over there. Our own advancements in, say, the ability to fly and things like that have taken out movement and material costs. And the last one, of course, to be defeated is time. That is one thing that's always a concern in Minecraft. You can build anything at all, but in the end, time actually is a resource. To hamper people from getting completely late game, you'll notice that things like the crafting of solar panels and industrial craft just takes longer and longer to complete. You might have all the materials, but all the various patterns take ages. So anyway, what we have upstairs is something that I've configured right here into our AE network. To be honest, I kind of took this design from some of Direwolf's videos, specifically his Applied Energistics Part 2, just to understand how it works and what's inside of it. Now, I should probably mention that were you to copy my setup, I don't only use that. In fact, to build that, I use these, the work tables from forestry. Fanciful devices. You're going to need some redstone chipsets and redstone golden ones in order to, say, create these processors. I'm missing the Fluix dust right now. Well, to make more Fluix dust, it just is this recipe here. So again, all you need is the work tables to have the recipes for creating things. And you right-click on it to lock them in place, you'll see. And then bam, you can just create all of these processors that it takes to build the other ones. There's no need to use that device upstairs for the basic things, I don't think. No, for just needing to lock your patterns in place, you can use these. Speaking of locking patterns, the blank patterns that you make here are what go into that machine. Now, to build that, it actually took these things. The pattern provider, which takes these conversion matrices, which you'll notice are indeed these. And it took storage cells, which are these. So you'll see the recipes just kind of compound onto each other. You need more Certus quartz, more iron, more gold, more glowstone than you can shake both your fingers at. Actually, since you need the entire outer edge to be this block, and the entire inside edge to be this, which, well, the cable itself is basically more Fluix dust, you can imagine the costs of building such a thing are very high. And that for all the patterns you need, well, we've seen that recipe, much, much more iron than you can really part with in the early game ever. So that's why, now that we've got basically infinite resources, and heck, we don't even need a minium stone anymore, I've got that. Let me show you what it does and what it can do. So, there's another block that you use in conjunction with the molecular assembler, as it's called, and that's this over here. The ME pattern encoder. So say we had some blank patterns, right? And we wanted to create a recipe that we could use. Well, let's have a look at that beast of a thing. Oh, by the way, you might also want a crafting CPU, which will show you if it's currently crafting a job and what materials are missing from the entire operation. So, inside mine, here are all of the various patterns I have encoded. Yes, you have to put them in individually and encode it on a thing. I'll show you how to do that in a minute. But first, let's go with the very basic things. A furnace. If I was to look at this encoded pattern right in the pattern encoder, you'll notice that, to put it in here, the pattern is simply putting 8 cobblestone together and then clicking the encode pattern to tell it that this is a furnace. Then, after I put it in there, oh, and I should mention, in the very center of this block are 4 blocks, the CPUs, 4 CPUs, and 4, what are they called? Pattern providers. Yes, the 4 pattern providers are what gives you these 4 pages of things. A bit much, you'd say, but I'll try to explain why it's important. So let's say I needed to have, say, 1 advanced solar panel. So to get to that step, I need to make the pattern for the iron furnace, the pattern for the generator, making sure that I also have the pattern for the battery it takes, the pattern for the irradiant reinforced plate. You know, all of these things together make one advanced panel. But the glory of it is, once you have all the components encoded together, all I need to do is walk over here to my ME regular terminal, set it to, say, it's already set to stored or craftable. Say I typed in, oh, I need an advanced solar panel right now. I'll tell it to craft me, 2, and hit begin. What does it do? Well, it's going to basically begin an operation, and we'll look here at the crafting CPU. You see, we're missing 4 carbon plates, but otherwise it has made every other complete thing. How fantastic is that? Of course, this does make me realize exactly which materials we're actually low on. Very surprising, isn't it? That a person with basically infinite resources is actually running out of things. I'm very curious. Didn't I macerate up my coal? Oh no, I'm mastering up glowstone, right? Because you demanded. You can imagine. Now that I can actually, I've gone to the point where I can craft a hybrid solar panel with this thing. It takes an absolute ton of glowstone to do that. By the way, now that I can craft hybrid solar panels at the press of a button, let's have a look around at the outer base changes. So I've added a second row over here of hybrid solar panels that specifically just power the AE network controller right through there. I know it looks a little weird with this thing coming down. That covers all the glass fiber cables, mind you. I don't know if there's a better look for it than that. I mean, at least that does show that the house is industrial, and that was kind of my point all along, to build a regular-looking house that would gradually expand outwards with the technology. Not sure I like what's going on right there yet, but as I said, it's still building. Over here is much better, though. I've got a glass fiber line coming up into more solar panels, and on the roof, even more. I have, all those are hybrids, the blue ones. So you can imagine, with those pumping out medium voltage current every day, that I've got basically a ton of power. I mean, once you've removed the time constraint of creating solar panels, you can basically move things anywhere. Which is really interesting to think about. What's one of the issues with industrial craft? Moving power. Once you've built your power network and all your machines, well, what if you want to be on the other side of the world, right, for some reason? Well, you'd need to make a whole new power network, because, heck, that or connect them with glass fiber cable, and that would look horrible, wouldn't it? No. Plus, there's only one reason why you'd need to put separate power in a separate location, and that is because I've created, well, I haven't created it, but I've completed another thing on my drawing board today, which is, of course, a base teleporter network. Very basic. I have a teleporter here. Underneath it is an MFSU, which is basically the most efficient way of powering a teleporter, since it calculates how much power it uses by the items in your inventory, as well as the distance traveled. So anyway, with a push of a button, I find myself back in my basement. Ha ha ha. Yes, how fantastic is that? With all my solar panels, I don't need to use my Buildcraft network. I can just use industrial craft power to use teleporters. Plus, teleporters wouldn't exactly understand how Buildcraft power worked anyway, but that's beside the point. The point is, here we go. Coal dust. I am running quite dry on the coal reserve, simply because there's a small issue with this whole efficiency and what's the other word I'm looking for? Business of, oh yeah, I'm running out of power there. Weird. Now that the networks are disabled from each other. Actually, are they disabled for a good reason? Yes, they are, because this is a high voltage thing. I should really make a LV transformer really quickly. And I don't mind showing this on screen because basically, oh look at that, 4 wood, 3 copper. Huh. Who knew? Anyways, like I said, I don't mind showing this sort of thing on screen because I off-screen the building of the actual autocrafter and all the encoding together. Anyway, let's just very quickly, I love the ME network. You can just type right into it, pull out the 3 I need. Oh, look at that, I need some copper cables. Right, so I'll grab one, I'll tell it to craft, oh, I don't know, I didn't need a lot, so let's say 10. Begin. Now, of course, it can make 12. Because, obviously, when you do an operation to make them, it doesn't make 10. But that's okay, it makes near as many as it can. And finally, I need some wood planks. There we are. I'll just grab some spruce wood real quick, bring up my notepad, and craft this sucker together. Ah, it's just so simple now. Think of the possibilities. If you can encode anything that you can craft, I mean, dear goodness, isn't this simple? Isn't this fantastic? Alright. Now the reason why I have this shut off is because solar panels are powering the MFSU underneath. Yeah, okay. I see an issue. The LV transformer is one way. If I want to put two transformers and have it be a two-way low voltage current, well, you know what? No. No, just having the power going in this direction is enough. So I will break one of this blocks here and make sure it's pointing the right direction. No, this is wrong. This is wrong. It should be the end with the 3 prongs is the input, I believe. Yes. Yes. So now those hybrid panels on the outside aren't going to short circuit anything, I don't think. Well, wait a minute. Now that I think about it, that was the reason why I didn't use hybrids on the bottom floor. They're all advanced, and advanced ones still count as high power. Or low power. Yeah, sorry. Okay, look, I kind of off-screened it, and I realized that explosions in this version of Feed the Beast are a lot less severe than the explosions in the GregTech-oriented ones, because it blew up my compressor and my other machine, the electric furnace, and other than that, there was no ill effects. So now then, this should actually power up the macerator. It's not. Why is this not powering it up? Does glass fiber cable actually have a limit? Because if the power from up above is along this line, it's going along here, right? It's going, it's going, it's going, it's going, it's going. And it ends up here. Can glass fiber cable not connect, maybe? I mean, to me, I look at this and I say, hey, if the copper cable's connected and this cable's connected, then everything's connected, right? There's no issue there. But perhaps it's a simple matter of just, I need more glass fiber. That could be fine. I don't mind. Glass fiber can handle any, well, basically any packet size, I believe. Except for the obvious one, which will blow out any current, which is just extreme. But I haven't built a nuclear reactor. This isn't what I'm worried about. Nope, I am just straight up putting my base together. So, yeah, still no power from the macerator. Wacky. Why is that not working? Maybe all the power is already being sucked up by the MFSU over there. And so having this at all is just totally useless anyway. How curious. I really couldn't say why that power is just not simply adding up with that power. But it should be fine. I can probably just go down to my coke oven, grab some coal coke. I believe that's a fairly good power source for a basic generator, and just let that puppy go. Now, when we last left off, Fwipp was griping a little bit about how things aren't being done in his basement. Oh, goodness sakes. Here we are. I believe I've even got some extra carbon mesh in my network right now. Oh my goodness, guys. It makes everything so much more simpler. Oh, I need fiber. Yeah, they're the 1 carbon fiber. We can put them together, and you'll see as I head upstairs. And, you know, let's fly this time. Seriously, I really love the flight spell. Hannibal was onto something when he showed me this. It's probably the best way to get around in this game. Oh, by the way, guys, speaking of getting around, I noticed that Knight's latest video involved this server, and, checking up what was going on, and the poor bloke stumbled upon our underground, well, what's the best word for it? You saw it last time, the experimental spell maker. I have no idea how it works yet. That was just a slight little clip. Honestly, I'll need to figure out how that works at a later date, because customized spells sounds pretty awesome, but I mean, trying to figure out what would Fwipp use as a customized spell. So how many do we need exactly? 4 missing components for these 2. I think it's for the 2, not the 1, if I'm not mistaken. Should be... Oh, there's all the glowstone dust ready and macerated from perfectly fine glowstone. Since I'm going to need this compressor to go faster, I'll just throw in 2 more overclockers. Oh yeah, watch that. That is perfect. In fact, let's go through the process of encoding a recipe to make more overclockers, because I tell you guys, it's not that, it is a little time consuming, so let's make it a lot easier. I've got a crafting terminal here, which is essentially a easier way to do this. Oh, there we go. Yep, it crafts exactly with whatever materials are in your network right now. So we'll grab our glass bottles. Where's my nearest water source? Probably the basement. Actually, I should put another terminal in the basement now that I'm basically got so much power I don't know what to do with. I can expand this network to goodness knows where. I need more tin to build some overclockers, as well as some electronic circuits. How many do I want to make? There's 2 in here now. Why don't we tell it to craft 2 more? I can tell it to craft 1 and it'll make 2. Fantastic. And finally some copper cables. Yeah, I want 20. And boom, 24. Beautiful. Isn't that easy? Like gosh. This whole episode may be me extolling the virtues of the Autocrafter because I've never used it before. It was very time consuming, but it was completely worth it. And I think the result of my experiments is as valid as the times when I accidentally blow up the house. Oh, I've run out of space, but that's what the notepad's for. Okay, so first of all, we're going to need some coolant cells for them thar things, so yeah. In fact, it's going to be 3 each. And that's the main issue with the coolant cells. Is that, although I could easily auto-craft the recipe for an overclocker, the 10K coolant cells as a component of it makes it a little less valid, I suppose is the word, simply because, well, I can't just tell the AE network how to get water bottles filled. That's not a crafting recipe. You know, making a furnace is easy, right, guys? Other things, not so much. In fact, there's just so many bottles here. I'll just leave these on the floor. What is it? It's 3 glass. I might be wasting them, but it don't matter. Anyways, hey, if you also make a mistake on the encoder, just put your pattern back in the encode slot and you can edit it. And then just click encode again, so that way you never waste your blank patterns. In fact, anything can just be re-encoded. It's fantastic. So that's why, let's just hit clear here. So it forgets what was in there last time. And it makes little ghost items here. That's fine. Oh, yeah, okay, it does kind of put the amount that there is. So I'll just right-click here so it only puts in 1. There we go, and that is the recipe for an overclocker. We hit encode, and there we go. The encoded pattern is ours. Hit clear for the next time we want to put one in. There we go. So we run a bit upstairs. Let's see here. And we'll just grab the overclocker pattern and put that in there. Boom! Oh my goodness, guys, this is going to be fantastic. So, 1, 2, 3, okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, I should have had 2 more, but then I ran out of tin. So let's grab more tin, right? I've been smelting up some, because tin is actually more useful now to me than it ever was before, because, batteries and other components of hybrid solar panels really do need a lot of tin. But that's fine. Next on my agenda is finding a way to use the AE network to smelt all that ore that came from the quarry, because that is the last step. We need to turn those raw materials into usable materials. Because that's an issue here, guys. We've got it, but what have we got? Not a lot, I'll tell you that. Okay. So we put everything in the network except for 2 to make the last one. Yes, okay. So basically what I can do now is head upstairs to my thing. It's already got the recipe in it. Put everything back in here and just kind of like leave it in there. We have exactly 18 10K coolant cells. So if I went over to my network, and I can do this on any access terminal, right? Everyone has the crafting function, but I'll do it on the 3rd floor just because that's where I'm going to need them. So we'll run over here to, we'll type in overclocker. It says craft. I'll tell it to do, let's say 64 of them. That's okay. It can't do 64. It'll do whatever it needs, and then it'll put the rest in here. Oh, by the way, I have to shift-click to cancel that job. Now, it's missing 10K coolant cells, so I'll shift-click to close that job too. It made as many as it could, and that's why the crafting CPU is good. You can tell it to stop running, and you won't need to break things. Anyway, it made 6 overclockers, predictably, because that was as many as I could make. But that's beautiful. Now, any other time when I need overclockers, guess what, guys? We've already got them set up. So, I want this furnace faster. Sure. There we go. Say I want my macerator. Sure. How about the extractor? That's never really needs them because... But I really do like this compressor, so we'll give 1 more to you. And maybe 1 more to the furnace? No, the macerator. Because we need more coal dust to be ground up ASAP. It's so silly when you've got resources, but I just can't... I haven't figured out a way to, like, do things like tell it to throw things into a compressor or a macerator to get the other materials just yet. There is a way to do it, I'm sure, with import and export buses. I think that's where the other players may come in. I'll need to seek their advice for having a perfectly self-sustaining machine. So now I can go into, like, hybrid panel and be like, craft me, say, 2. Begin. And if we look in the CPU, you'll see that it's like, oh, I need 2 carbon plates. That's all I'm missing. Strange, right? And then I'll just shove like 10 and 63 rubber in there, and then it'll be like, oh, bloop, check out the process. It created 1 already, and then by the time it's going through the process, it's like, oh, I need 1 more coal dust. Well, that's good that I'm macerating this up then. What was the coal dust for? The first basic solar panel. That recipe's in there, and it's going through all of them right now simultaneously. And realizes that now it's missing 1 iridium ingot. Well, to get 1 iridium ingot, funny enough, yeah, I just need to craft. Let's craft like 4 iridium, because I put the recipe in there easily. There we go, 4 iridium. Now we take this over to our compressor. That's again why it got stuck, because this is another small resourcey thing that needs to be done ahead of time. But still, you know, with this many hybrids running, there is no shortage of power. There we go. Here's our 1 iridium ingot. Okay. So we just throw that in the network. Have a look at the CPU monitor. We're now missing advanced alloys again. Well, thankfully, the mixed metal recipe is in here. Let's just... What do? I hit cancel. Do 64 and begin. How's it going? Here, I'll take those 12 or 16 while you're running, and I need to compress those up now. That's what it is. I'm hitting a deadlock every time I need something to go into a compressor. Actually, the best thing is, if I find a way to do that, I could build a whole line of compressors and things with its own custom set of hybrid solar panels, maybe even right here on the outside of the base. Maybe even on the roof. And it'll just import and export everything it needs. There we go. Here's some advanced alloy. Let's go throw that in the system. And soon, I believe... It completed. Okay? So if we look in at hybrid solar panel, 2 more right there. Like the amount of power this like no, not the enemy from Zelda, but just think about like how simple it was to just be like, "Oh, yeah, I got the recipe for like advanced scenarium things. I can just double click, place some hybrid solars down and we're good to go." That's crazy efficient. Do you see the power of this CPU thing? Yes, it took a lot of materials to build the chamber itself and the patterns, and some time to make every single pattern, but now that I have anything that I want to create over and over again, just the push of a button, and it's there. I want Tesseracts? Oh, I put in the encoded pattern for a pneumatic servo. I want to make more teleporters in the future. There we go, I can craft those too. Everything else is pretty simple right now. I haven't exactly decided anything I want to mass fabricate. But when you look down here at the energy requirement, you know, it's 36 units per tick. 20 units per tick was when my regular Buildcraft engines were off, and it was still running fine on lava. So this is those, and all those hybrids right now. That's how much expansion I can use. I can use AE in the entire base now. I could build a second set of these 4 pattern provider things. Oh my god, this is amazing. I have the ability, the power to do it. I just need to find out how. And that, guys, I think I'm going to end up leaving for the next episode. What's going to happen? I don't know, but sometime in the near future, I do need to realize a way on how to do that. Those little things that I haven't figured out how to do. Use the compressor, you know, get AE to run things through that. There must be a way. Somewhere. I need to watch more Direwolf. You know, honestly, he's the guy with the know-how. Otherwise, I am very happy with this. Still need to get royal jelly from bees. That hasn't happened yet, sadly. I really meant to speed that up. Instead, it kind of went on the fritz, as we instead took industrial power to the next level. What's next? I don't know. Teleporters all over the freaking server, because I can do that! Oh, it's beautiful. Anyway, I hope you've had as much fun with this as I have. Leave your suggestions in the comments. Google Plus has shut me up permanently. As long as it's in Google Plus mode, my account doesn't have one, so I can't actually reply to your comments, even though I do read them. Have a great time out there, guys. And, you know, erecting dispensers everywhere, even though I don't play TF2. Later!